They've made several successful hits on tanks.
In America, production of television equipment for commercial use was banned a few months after Pearl Harbor. NBC studios telecast training programs for air raid wardens. TV cameras were used in Allied bombers to report on bomb damage. American and British television engineers went to work on radar. There was a close connection between the two technologies.
About after a year, I ran into Lord Swinton, who had been the Air Minister. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I've been radar for the last few years." And he said, and before, I said, "I was television." And he said, "But do you realize that actually Britain started public service television because we had invented radar, we knew a war was likely to come, and we wouldn't have had the production facilities to manufacture the cathode ray tubes if we hadn't had public service television going. And we got it on the air in time, so that the moment war started, not only could we use the engineers, but we could use the production facilities to manufacture the radar for the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, which helped us win the Battle of Britain."
In spite of the war, in Nazi-occupied Europe, television stayed on the air. Suspended briefly during the invasion of Poland, German television continued for another 4 years until bombers scored a direct hit on the transmitter. While television continued to entertain the troops, the Nazi government planned the production of 5,000 home receivers after the war was won. Occupied Paris, 1940. Hitler's army was followed by German television. A station manager was sent from Berlin to take charge.
At that time in Paris, all the hospitals whose patients included German soldiers could watch us. Suitable receivers had been set up everywhere. And besides, in Paris, we had the biggest television studio in the world and the world's most powerful transmitter. It couldn't have been better.
Television Culture for the Wehrmacht, a ballet by the director of the Paris Opera. Finally, as the war drew to a close, in America and Britain, television was ready for a big comeback.
I want you back most of the time for a postcard effect, unless I ask you to go into a close-up. Number 3 on the low tripod, down for the stunt shots. And number 2, you start on the caption, keep screwed up high, and after the first caption, turn and dolly onto the set.
In America, TV was at last broadcasting's top priority. By 1948, 250,000 sets had been sold. NBC kept viewers up to date.
Here's television news. The network links between the East and the Midwest will be ready sooner than expected. The links between Midwest stations will be ready by October, and the cable to the Midwest by December. We hope to televise Christmas from St. Louis to Boston.
.1948 television was still so new, it made even an old radio hand like Ben Grauer a little nervous.
Good evening, friends. My name's Ben Grauer, and I'm very happy to welcome you again into an behind-the-scenes tour in Eyewitness Television. Tonight, I'd like to tell you just how the television system which you're viewing today came into being. And I'd like you to meet some of the men who held a dream and stayed with that dream to bring it to the reality which you now know seated before you in your living room. In order to do that, I think it'd be a good idea if we reviewed, if I could refresh your mind on some of the facts about television pictures and how they're broadcast. The camera is used just as in any other kind of picture taking, but there's no film in this camera. Developing and processing film takes too long. Besides, you can't broadcast pictures. You can, however, broadcast electrical impulses which will make a picture. Behind the lens of this camera, which seems to be approaching us, behind the lens of this camera is the special tube that takes the television picture. It's called the iconoscope, and we'll see it in just a moment. There it is, the iconoscope. And now, we of NBC Television and at Eyewitness are honored to have in our studios the distinguished scientist who helped perfect the iconoscope, Dr. Vladimir Zworykin of the Radio Corporation of America. I'd like to ask you, Dr. Zworykin, what originally led you to be so interested in television?
Then it is like fever. When the television bug bites you, you never can stop working on it.
Zworykin told Grauer about the latest advances in TV.
And the result was that we developed this image orthicon
Ah, yes, the image orthicon. This is the tube which is used now, isn't it?
in the field work.
Yes, I just wanted our friends in television to see this.
It can transmit the picture in the moonlight.
By just the light of moonlight, eh? Are they all the same size, Doctor?
Oh, no. Here's one tube.
Oh, yeah, what did
It
you...
looks like this.
And this is the same as that? I mean, does the same work?
Exactly, consists of the same parts, the image tube,
Yes.
orthicon, and electron multiplier.
That's amazing. And the place where the picture comes in is only about the size of a dime.
That's correct.
Well, this could be used then for a miniature camera, like the miniature cameras in regular photography.
That's right. And besides, it can be used in many other purposes besides television broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, to transmit our vision in accessible places.
You mean up in the sky and...
On the sky, and the bottom of the sea, any place of danger where we don't like to.
Well, when here we have the result of 25 years of work, Doctor. When you started to work on your dream, did you know it would come to this great reality?
Well, it works as we dreamed about it.
I see.
But, of course, we didn't know that it will take these shapes at that time.
Well, I think you're to be congratulated for holding on to your dream and bringing it to the wonderful reality of today, Doctor.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zworykin. And I want to say thank you, Dr. Zworykin, and we hope that you've enjoyed this little visit behind the scenes in Eyewitness. I know I've learned a lot about the technical facts behind tubes, and also I think I've learned something very important. To hold on to your dream. As the example we've seen today through the work of Dr. Zworykin and his colleagues, that dream come to a magnificent realization through bits of tungsten and copper and finely fashioned glass, creating the miracle of iconoscope television we know today. Let's all dream, and let's hope your dreams come true.
Those dreams were rapidly translated into a mass medium for instant entertainment. Milton Berle was TV's first star, and this was the first edition of his Texaco Star Theater.
There's more?
Stiff competition for Berle came from an unusual rival, Bishop Fulton J. Sheen.
It is we of the Western world who must make ourselves worthy of this fight for freedom behind these two curtains. And if we put ourselves on God's side, we may be sure that in 15 years, communism will be as forgotten as Nazism is today. Why, with God, we have already won. Only the news has not yet leaked out.
Bishop Sheen first appeared on network television, but not on ABC, CBS, or NBC. There was a fourth network in the late 40s and early 50s, the Dumont Network, created by television engineer and inventor Alan B. Dumont.